Hi there, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Michael Norman, and this is Maximum Life with yours truly, Michael Norman. Now, listen, on today's video, I'm going to be teaching you and talking to you how that success is not a miracle, it's a mindset. And have you ever thought about, when you're seeing those who are doing the thing that they do, or, they seem successful and there's not a care in the world for them, and that it seems like everything happens just by sheer luck. However, I want to talk to you today about how, again, your mindset affects everything about your life, that your external life is actually an outpouring of your internal life. And so when we talk about success is not a miracle, it's a mindset. We're simply saying that you can literally become the master of your own destiny. And I base that premise on the scripture that says that as a man thinketh, so is he. So what we think has a lot to do with how we live. Our decisions, our attitudes, our dispositions, all of that emanates from the mindset. And of course, I always say your mindset affects your assets. So, but I wanted to tell you today is that miracles are not it's not God's will for us to live by miracles. Let's just get that out into the open. I mean, yes, God is a God of miracles. He can do the impossible. He can do whatever he wants to do whenever he wants to do it. However, miracles is not the method that he wants us to live by. As a matter of fact, he put an element of himself inside of us so that we can live in the same way that he does. Whenever God wants something, he doesn't simply just wish that it would happen. He gets verbal about it. Let there be a light. Let there be firmament. Let there be a sky. Let there be trees, etc., etc. Everything that is in creation emanates first from his mindset, and it articulates through his mouth. And the same thing applies to us. If you want to see it, then you've got to say it. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it will eat the fruit thereof. That's just the way that it is. So today I want to just kind of hone in on this idea that success is only for a select few. However, many are called, few are chosen. That simply means not that God favors one group of people over another. It simply means that there are those who are going to do what it takes to become successful. And then there are those who are simply not, because as quiet as it's kept, to become successful, it's very arduous. It's difficult. It's not an overnight thing. You've got to believe in yourself when no one else believes. You got to see yourself doing, being, and having the things that you desire to do, be, and have, even before you get the resources to do, be, or have them. That's the mindset of a winner. And the greatest battle you're going to fight or face is the battle between the ears, because it's not what goes in your mouth that defiles a man, but what comes out of your mouth. What I mean by that is what have you been telling yourself? What have you been saying about yourself? And that's what goes into your ear gates, into your mindset, and develops a mindset which creates your reality. As I say, your mentality affects your reality. What you've been thinking, what you've been remediating, what you've been thinking about, what you've been just rehearsing in your mind, ultimately is going to show up in your life. That's just the way God's designed the world to be, that as you think it, so shall it be. So again, let me get this out of the way here. So as you think it or you meditate on it, ultimately, it's going to become your reality. It's going to become a part of your life. So again, things don't just happen haphazardly. Now, we may be haphazard in the way we do things, but things don't happen as a result haphazardly. We have to be intentional. Whether you're intentional or haphazard, you're going to create a reality. That's just the truth of the matter. You're going to create your reality based on either intentionality or happenstance. Either case, you are going to be the architect of your life. So every success story starts in the invisible realm of thought. You've got to think it. Before there was a business, there was a belief. Before there was any hint that it could ever become a reality, it has to become a part of your mental makeup. Before there was an achievement, there's an attitude. There's an attitude that you have to possess. that I am going to do this come what may. Doesn't matter. I am, every successful person that you talk to, whether they're a successful actor, business person, or etc., one of the things that they're all going to have in common is a attitude of I will not quit. I'm not going to quit. No matter what happens, no matter what comes, no matter what goes, I'm not going to quit. In this end of discussion, whether you believe in me or not, I am not going to quit. I'm going to have whatever I got to face. That's what I've got to face, because I know whatever I'm facing is actually not working against me, but it's working for me. Again, I draw from the scripture that says in Romans 18 that I reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared to the glories. So my suffering, my challenges right now is the process of developing the story that's going to go with the glory, my full expression. That's what glory means. Glory means the full expression. So everything that I'm going to be is directly linked to what I'm going through right now. So before it will work for me, I say it all the time, before it works for me, it's going to work on me. So it's going to develop certain attributes, certain temperament types, styles, and the way that I am, my paradigm, the way I think. It's going to work on that because I'm going to need this new mindset for the new level that I'm going to. So before there's a business, before there's anything, there's a mindset, there's a belief system, there's an attitude, a disposition that says, I am. I often talk about how in history, it was said that the founding fathers did not believe in the new land or the new world. They believed from the new world. They were so convinced that there is a new world out there for them to discover that they literally went, got the financing, got the backing, got the ships, got the workers, got the employees, everything to go to this new world, to the extent they ultimately found what they were looking for. Now, of course, history talks about Columbus finding the world, or finding the United States as it's known now. But we know it wasn't quite the United States. He was somewhere in the Caribbeans. However, this is what belief will do for you. That when you believe strongly enough in something and you shoot for the sky, but even if you miss, you'll fall among the stars. So even his miss was a win, because he was so driven by what he believed that he never would have discovered even the Caribbean if he just stayed in England or Italy or wherever he came. Well, they came from all over. I'm not a history buff, as you can probably tell. So when you change the way you think, you change the way you move. But when you change the way you move, you change what you attract. When you change the way you think, you change the way that you move. And when you change the way that you move, your attitude, your disposition, your stilo, the way that you move and conduct yourself is a magnetic force in and of itself. It attracts certain people. The truth of the matter is, if you're one that loves drama, you like confusion, chaos, and that sort of thing, ultimately, those are the type of people that find their way to your life some sort of way. There's some sort of cosmic magnet that draws people who are of like mind to one another. So that's why if you begin to think successful thoughts, ultimately you'll start making success moves that in itself attracts other successful people around you. So it's not just simply, I come from a church culture. And as such, in my church culture, we believe that God somehow is going to always work things out for us. And he does in many cases, in many ways. However, he works it with us, not for us. And so as long as you're thinking God is going to work it out for me, then that will never give you the incentive to go out and look for the job or look for the opportunity or go to school or do what you have to do. Get in that weight room and start working out if you're going to lose weight. If you believe God's going to do everything for you, then it robs you of the necessary momentum and motivation to get out and do the work. Because faith is not just believing, faith is actually an action word. You got to get out and do it. You got to bust a move. If you want what you've never had, guess what? You've got to do what you've never done. You can't expect to do the same things that you've always done and expect different results, a better outcome, a different outcome. Because again, if you want what you've never had, you've got to do what you've never done. You've got to be willing to get up and make something happen. So mindset says, I'm not in control of what happens to me, but I will control how I respond. I can't control how the world acts and revolves around me, but I can change the way that I respond to it. So what? I lost this or lost that. My parents didn't do this. My parents didn't do that. My coach didn't believe in me. That has nothing to do with your potential. There's nothing. There's nothing you cannot accomplish. There is nothing in this world you cannot accomplish. If you believe strongly enough and you back that belief with action, because believing is not enough in and of itself. If you believe, then you will get out and do it. Just like simple as it was today, I believed that this chair would hold me if I sat in it. So you know what I did? Boom, I sat in the chair. So I believed, therefore I act. So again, I cannot control what happens around me, but I can control how I respond to it. You know, I've heard it said in relationships, you know, how one spouse will blame the other spouse for making them react a certain way. You made me angry, or you made me do this, and you made me feel like this, and you made me feel like that. No one can make you feel anything without your permission. No one can make you think anything about yourself without your permission. Because remember, I said it earlier that it's not what goes in your mouth that defiles a man. It's what comes out of your mouth. What have you been saying about yourself? What have you been telling? Because you know the loudest voice in your life is your own voice. Scientist says that we have not just these outward ears, but we have inner ears. And your inner ear monitors everything that you're saying with your voice. So there's not a word that just is just idle words. As you're speaking outward with your mouth, you're speaking inward to your soul. So if you're saying, I'm afraid I'm not going to make it, I'm afraid this is not going to work, all kinds of negative thoughts and scarcity mindsets and limiting mindsets, the truth of the matter is those things that you think are literally going to become a reality. So if it's going to become a reality, then you might as well think, I am blessed. I am prosperous. You might as well think empowering thoughts. You might as well think thoughts of increase, blessing, and abundance so that you can have maximum life. Life in general is what you make it. That's really the truth of the matter is. You can blame people if you want, but at the end of the day, you're going to waste valuable time looking back, because the only way you can blame people is to look back in time, look back in history. So if you're living in the past, you'll never be able to handle the present. And you certainly can't even begin to embrace your future. So you've got to be willing to forget the past, not as though it never happened, but you've got to unchain yourself from your past so that you can embrace your present and live out your present so that you can embrace your future. You've got to be willing to forgive, forget, let go, because a lot of people, this is amazing, a lot of people live more in their past than their present. They're constantly either trying to prove someone in their past, I'm going to prove them wrong, or I don't like how I was brought up, or I hate my parents, or I hate my past experience, and they just keep recycling the hurt, the pain, the disgust, the disappointment, and they rehearse that, and that fuels them. They get some sort of dysfunctional pleasure out of reliving the harm and the pain of the past. But you'll never be able to inherit the promised land if you're constantly living in the past. You can't do it. Let me tell you a story. So a little bit ago, some time ago, a few years ago, I was driving my car, and I was coming to this intersection where, you know how you can merge to the right so that you can merge into the ongoing traffic. So as I was merging or made that right turn, and I was yielding behind a car, there was a truck in front of me. So he stopped, so I stopped. But the problem was, as we were both waiting for the space to clear so that we could merge into the traffic, I saw him moving forward as though he was merging into the traffic. So I was looking back and started moving forward while looking back. And you know what happened? Boom! Ran right into him. Now, fortunately, I wasn't going that fast, so it was just a mild little ding. But the message I got out of that experience is that you cannot move forward while looking backwards. You can't move forward while looking backwards. Why? Because you'll do like I did. You will end up wrecking your future or your progress because of your attention to your past. There's a reason why every car has basically two windows in the front. One window is the huge window we call the windshield. The other window is a rear view mirror. So it allows you to look in the back so you can see what's behind you. Now, there's a reason why the windshield is huge, but the rear view mirror is small. Can I tell you why? Because it's trying to tell you that the greater important thing for your life is not in back of you, but it's in front of you. The most important thing for your life is ahead of you. The things that are behind are in the past. That's why rear view mirror is so small, while the windshield is greater, it's bigger. The reason it's bigger because what's ahead of you is so much greater than what's behind you. You can put that in the chat. That what's ahead of you, it's so much greater than what's behind you. So you cannot expect to move forward while looking backwards, because ultimately you'll do like I did. You'll run into something and wreck your present while trying to move forward. So again, the Bible says, forget those things that are behind and press forward towards those things that lie ahead. Forget what the things that are happening behind. Forget, yeah, that wasn't good. That didn't feel good. Didn't feel good at all. Didn't treat me good. I had a bad experience. Yes, but I'm going to forget those so I can move forward towards what lies ahead, because I see something in the distance that is so much greater, so much more fulfilling than that which was in the past. And even the good things, because good things has a way of holding you back, because you would rather live in the fond memories of yesterday than to challenge yourself to the miracles of your future, the blessings of your future. So again, the mindset says, I may not be able to control. I couldn't control my parents, can't control my teachers. I can't control what people say about me, but I can control how I respond. If I'm going to be successful, if I'm going to maximize my life, then I've got to get to a place where I'm not so concerned about what people think about me. Now, that's not being arrogant. I'm not saying, please don't misunderstand. I'm not saying to become arrogant, but I am saying there's certain freedom that you have to gain from people's opinion about you. I'd like to be liked by everyone, but you know what? I understand I'm not everyone's cup of tea. It's, that's what it is. It's the reality. I'm not everyone's cup of tea, and I'm good with that. Some will, some won't. So what? You have to be good with it. You have to realize that I can't be everything to everybody. So, see, the most successful people aren't the most talented. They're the most determined. They are determined to make it. They are determined, and they're focused with laser-like precision. This is where I'm going. This is not where I'm going. So as such, I'm willing to let that go. I'm willing to release some. You know what Kobe Bryant said before this? The late great Kobe Bryant talked about his career and what made him so great was that he knew if I am going to be great, that means I'm going to have to miss some recitals. I'm going to have to miss some parties. I'm going to have to miss some dinners. I'm going to have to miss out on some very significant aspects of my family life because I'm pursuing greatness in this particular area. And that requires that I have to sacrifice certain things that I would love to do, but I'm focused with laser precision on doing this one thing. And he was good with that. You have to reconcile that I can't be the greatest basketball player or one of the greatest basketball players in history and be at every recital, every movie, watch every movie that comes out, go to every party, go to every gathering, because again, I'm on a mission. And that's how you and I have to be. That's why success is not a miracle. It's a mindset. And while people think that you were an overnight success when you come up, you will know that that overnight took me 10, 15, 20 years to happen. It was the longest overnight succession of my life. But it happened because of intentionality. You have to be intentional. You have to be determined. And you have to have a will not quit attitude. I am not quitting. There are going to be a lot of things that actually challenge you to not necessarily quit, just quit pursuing one thing. What I'm saying is there are a lot of things that can distract you. You may not quit, but you can get distracted by things that are not just the things that are bad for you, but the things that you literally enjoy. I just told you, Kobe said he had to give up recitals. I'm sure he would have loved to gone to his children's recital. I mean, that's monumental, right? I'm sure he would have loved to have been home eating, having dinner with his family. I'm sure he would have loved going on family trips and things of that nature and enjoying life. He had the money to do so and the wherewithal, but he says, I'm chasing something. I'm chasing something. And that requires that I have to give up those for a time period. I will pick up on it at a later time in life. So now we're talking about delayed gratification. I'm willing to forfeit the early years so that I can spend maximum time with them in the later years. Did you have to make those decisions? You have to be good and you have to be settled in your mind that that's just the way it's going to be. I would prefer to be able to do both, but I can't be both things. I can't go both places at the same time. I can't be I can't be Mr. Mom and Mr. Wonderful at the same time. I can't be the best that ever done it and be a stay-at-home dad. Just not going to happen. So again, you have to make that decision and you have to be focused and determined, and you will succeed. Now, again, life throws us variables. Curveballs happen sometimes. We don't see things happening. We don't plan for things to happen, but sometimes they do happen. And as such, we have to plan accordingly. Make adjustment, course correction. I'll say this and I'll close with this, that whenever a plane takes off, gets to its cruising altitude, 30, 35,000 feet, whatever, what we don't recognize that along the way, they're making gradual course corrections up and actually the way that a plane travels is kind of like in a wave, but it's doing it so gradually that we cannot detect it with our own bodies, because it's so gradual. But what it's doing is making course corrections all along the way until they reach their destination. So sometimes in life we do have to make course corrections. That's not to say to land the plane and then chart a new course. It's that make course corrections while you're on your way there. Small corrections, small deviations, small movements that helps to bring you to your desired end. Small course correction. If you're constantly stopping, landing the plane, refueling, take off again, only land again, refuel, take off, go a little distance, then land again, refuel, you're going to spend more energy. You're going to spend more time. You're going to spend more fuel going up and down, rather than to make small corrections, make those adjustments, and continue on your course. We call them course corrections. Make those corrections. So again, you don't have to waste an inordinate amount of energy, time, money, energy, attention, all of that, because you keep landing the plane and going back up and down, up and down. Stay on course. Make those course corrections as you need to and continue your course. Okay? So again, because once your mindset changes, everything on the outside eventually changes. Once you make the change in mindset, everything on the outside eventually catches up. So you must be, do, have. You must be the person you desire to be before you have the evidence to support it. I am a doctor. That's why I am going, not me, but I'm saying if you're a doctor, I am a doctor. That's why I'm spending time doing the work in the university for the 8, 10, or however many years it takes, because I'm a doctor. I believe that I was a doctor before I went to school. I believe that I'm a musician. That's why I put the time in practicing. I'm one of the greatest musicians because I put the time in to practice. It's not because I just keep saying it. You got to be and then do before you can have. It's the be, do, have principle. You've got to be it first. A scientist, a doctor, accountant, lawyer, physician, whatever it may be, you've got to be that first in your mindset. And the more you settle it in your mind, then you go on to do the work. As a matter of fact, when it's settled in your mind, it makes the work more easy or easier. When it's settled in your mind, it makes doing the work easier. When you settle your future in your mind, it makes doing the work easier. You'll get more endurance. You'll be more resilient. You can continue. You'll have the tenacity because you are what you're becoming. Now, I know that's paradoxical, but you are. You must be, do, and have. You are what you're becoming. And eventually, as you continue to believe in it and continue to work at it, you will have the things that you desire. So I hope today something has been said that has encouraged you and edified and built you up and let you understand that, listen, in truth, your mindset affects your assets. Your mentality will affect your reality, because success is not a matter of miracles. It's a mindset. It's success is not an issue of miracles. It's an issue of mindset. So get your mind right. Get your head in the game. And as a man thinketh, so is he. That's my prayer. That's my desire for you, that you live out the true purpose and the potential for your being created. You're not here by accident. You have a divine purpose designed by God, and he's given you everything inside of you to achieve it. So dig into the reservoir of who you are, the gifts, the talent, pull out the discipline and the resilience necessary to fulfill it and to complete it. And I'll see you at the top. You know why? Because it is too crowded at the bottom. So I would love, before I go, to tell you, make sure if you are an entrepreneur, you have your own business, or you want to start your own business, listen, this is the best time in the world to start your own online course, your online business. Whether you are a content creator, an instructor, you have a service or a product, this is the best time to start your online business. It costs minuscule amount of dollars compared to starting up a brick and mortar. Why start a brick and mortar that costs thousands of dollars? I'm talking about thousands of dollars, 10, 20, thousands of dollars before you even open the front door to your business. You got to pay employees, you got to pay insurance, you got to pay contractors, you got to pay everybody else before you get paid. As opposed to starting your online business, it's easy. You don't need you don't need a 4-year degree to start it. You can literally start making money today. Now, if that makes sense to you and you're interested, make sure that you check out the link in the description. It's michaelnorman.net, michaelnorman.net. Click on that, and that'll take you to my landing page that will share more information about it, okay? All right, until next time, I'm praying that God's best be yours. Till next time, blessings.